Hello, everybody. Let's see, what am I doing? I see, okay. Screen, did I do the screen share yet? Okay, desktop, share. All right. Document, slide. Share, present, play. This is what I want. Smack. Okay, close your eyes, everybody. Don't look, don't look. Okay, now you can open your eyes. All right, welcome. This is Master Your Intuition. Welcome to you all. I'm so grateful that you're here because doing this all by myself is not much fun at all. I am here to help you in integrate your intuition because everyone has it. Everybody has intuition. You can call it your GPS system. You can call it your inner nav. You can call it your high self is connecting with you, but everyone has intuition. So what is intuition? Well, it could be a nudge from the universe, a gut feeling, a sense, an inner knowing. Maybe you get like a movie in front of your third eye, or some sort of sensory experience, a nudge in a certain direction. And if prayer is talking to God, then intuition is God talking to you. And sometimes when you just feel somebody, maybe they come into your consciousness and next thing you know, they call you. That's intuition. Or maybe you're driving down the highway, and this happens to me a lot, and you feel somebody just navigating over into your lane, or they're staring at you. They're attracted to your energy. So intuition is a gift. And what is it for? Well, when we were being chased by lions, tigers, and bears, I don't know if you've ever been out in the wilderness anywhere where you felt somebody staring at you, and you know it's not a stalker because you're out in the middle of the forest, so it's got to be a wild animal. And so our intuition is this internal GPS system to warn us of imminent danger. And Yoda and I were walking in Indian Peaks Wilderness. This was probably in July maybe or August, and we're just walking along the road, and about 100 feet away from us I sensed something. And when I looked, sure enough, there's a mountain lion, you know, running parallel to us. So intuition is to guide you, to protect you, to steer you to a different path. It's part of your inner nature. It is your guide, your inner teacher. It is also your link to your high self. And now there are things that get in the way. So when you think about your intuition and listening, what do you think gets in your way? Anybody? Any ideas? All of those things. it's the bills, the worry about money. I didn't sleep well last night. Work, whatever you're doing, the people that you're associating with. And so the biggest thing though is our self-doubt. And self-doubt is an anchor, and it keeps our ships from sailing. So every time we have a doubt about, well, I can't do this, this isn't correct, I can't trust my intuition. Anytime you have a doubt about yourself, you are basically negating that intuition. Oh, look at that, we're at the ocean. And we want our ships to sail. Oh, my favorite beach in the world. So we want to set all doubts aside, just cast them aside. What are those doubts? They might be, I'm not intuitive. I never get intuition. I don't hear still small voices. I'm not getting messages, but you are. Oops. There are so many things though that get in the way. Navigating our schedules, driving, commuting, shopping for groceries, mask mandates, whatever it is, television, radio, all these things get in the way of us listening to that intuition. We're so busy doing things, mindless activities, where we are not tapping into our inner self. We are in our heads as opposed to in our hearts. And if we don't have time to sit in silence, spending time with ourselves, what are we doing? Striving, trying to get ahead, worrying about what's out there. And I want to tell you, it's a lot easier. I love this thing. I think I can, oh, there, I made it work. Oh, love that thing. It can be easier. So let's just take a moment and breathe together. This may be the first time that you've actually stopped today to just focus on your breath and you, connecting within you. So take a nice deep breath and exhale. So we're going to do a little exercise right now to help you ignite that inner intuition. It's a Kundalini yoga thing, go figure. All right, so what we're going to do is sit upright. You can put your hands in the Gyan Mudra, thumb and index finger together. And then sitting upright, you put your hands in your lap, close your eyes, but put your focus, it's called a drishti. You put your focus on this point here on the middle of your forehead. So with your eyes closed, but you're kind of looking up at your forehead, and we're going to be sipping 8 small sips of breath through our nose. And then exhale. So they have to be short breaths so you won't have enough room. So little short breaths 8 times. Exhale. One more time, focusing on the third eye, the middle of the forehead. And then exhale. Excellent. So that's a really good meditation for you to do. You can do it starting with 3 minutes and going up to 11. And that breath is going to really focus in and open that third eye. We need to focus on it, tap on it a little bit, open, open, open. And meditation is a really good way for us to connect with our inner voice, with our high self, with our third eye. And, it doesn't have to be on a rocky surface. It doesn't have to be in the woods, but being outside in nature is a really good way to connect with nature, with plants, with trees when they're in full bloom. Maybe not so much right now, but we can connect with anything in our environment. So when we meditate, we're going inside. So the way I like to look at that is you see yourself in your head and then take an escalator from your head into your heart, the middle of your chest. And then close your eyes, or envision yourself falling backward, like you're falling backward into your heart, like you would a swimming pool. So what does intuition help with? Well, when you sit in meditation, you can ask questions about, what do I need to know about myself? And sit and wait for the answer and write down whatever it is you hear. Don't judge it. Don't change it. This is the thing, is that, well, did I really hear that? Write it down exactly as it said, even if the words are not words you would use. And that's how you know that it's coming from outside of you, not inside of you. If it's a phrase or words that you would not use. Okay, so what will help you tap into your intuition? Getting an energy clearing. We're going to do that at the end. Healing the past, doing daily meditation, mantras to quiet the mind chatter. And then, of course, being completely authentic. What does that help with? Well, when you're completely authentic, then there's no question about what you said to whom. You are comfortable being yourself. You don't have to be phony or the chameleon of being different with different people. You're the same with every person. That's authenticity. All right, so what gets in the way? Trying to make other people happy, living in fear, worrying about what are people going to think of me if I'm listening to my inner guidance. Second guessing yourself should be at the very top of this list. It is the biggest issue that we get guidance. And I'm going to tell you a story in just a second. And then not being honest with ourselves, or lack of personal trust. And well, what can you do when you have intuition? Well, you're tapping into your high self, your inner guidance, your inner divinity. You have greater confidence and expanded vision and view of yourself. You get solutions rather than focusing on problems. Your heart feels lighter, more synchronicity, better flow, abundance, and of course, your vibration increases. And if you can wonder, I wonder how I could think differently. I wonder how I could get this information from the universe. I wonder how I could discover something original and new about myself that I didn't know. I wonder how I could make more money. And wait for the answers, because when you ask, the universe has no choice but to answer. Unlike our spouses and kids, they can ignore us, right? But the universe has to answer. So we need to shift our thinking. All right. So intuition is not thought awareness. What does that mean? Well, it's not focusing on a thought. It's not zeroing in on a thought. It is actually our ears, our eyes, our sense of smell, our sense of taste, feeling maybe in your fingertips and your palms, in your body. You might get tingling all over your body. I call those, they could be called God bumps. Lots of people call them, or God chills. So I'm going to share a story with you in just a second. Here we go. So just recently, I took Yoda to the park. This was about 2 weeks ago. I took Yoda to the park. That's my little dog. And as we were leaving, I sure hope, Ashley, did I press record for this thing? Did I record? Hope so. I hope we're recording. So I took Yoda to the park and I was headed home. I had no other errands to run. And I was headed, let's just say, in a northerly direction. And I got a little nudge, and it was almost like I didn't get pushed, but that's what it felt like somebody was, go this way. And the nudge was telling me to go to this consignment shop, a furniture consignment shop. And I didn't need anything. My place is full. I don't need any furniture, but I got the nudge a second time. Okay, I'm supposed to go to this consignment shop, and I knew where it was, just around to the right. And I went in, I walked around the top floor, and everything was kind of pricey and nothing I needed anyway. And so I thought, well, I haven't been downstairs. That's the thrift store. I'll go to the thrift store. Again, I didn't need anything. I wasn't looking for anything, but I was nudged to go there. So sometimes when we get this hit, whether it's to move to a location or to meet a certain person, or go to a place or down a street that we wouldn't normally take, there's something for you there. And we often think, okay, this guy is the guy that I'm supposed to be with. Well, maybe the guy is taking you to a city that you need to be in, or maybe the nudge, that I got to go to this thrift store was to meet someone that I could in some way connect with, network with, who knows what, right? It was a gift from the universe. So as I'm walking around this downstairs of the thrift store, again, looking at things, I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need this. I walk around the corner and there's this older man in his 80s. And it's usually me talking to the strangers. And he turned to me and he goes, look, all these ties. I haven't worn a tie in 20 years. And then he just starts chit-chatting with me. And then he starts talking to me about this senior group that he has, and he's looking for speakers. And we started talking, and I said, well, I'll come speak to your group. And he said, you would? I said, yes, absolutely. And so we have communicated a couple of times. I am slated to speak in 2 weeks about metaphysics and spirituality, and who knows where this will lead. Here, that's the thing, is that sometimes the universe is taking us to the next step, which will take us to the next step, that will introduce us to the people we need to meet. So not questioning and following guidance, you could say it's obedience. You could say it's following the divine will. And, I used to have a hard time with that, but I've realized that if my will is in alignment with divine will, God's will, life becomes so much easier because I'm listening to what the information that's coming to me. All right. So, important rule. This is rule number 1. Listen to your intuition right now. Like, if I hadn't listened to my intuition, I wouldn't have gone to that shop. I wouldn't have met this man. I wouldn't have been speaking at this group. So that's the thing, is most people hear after the fact, oh, geez, I should have listened. If I'd listened, I would have avoided this accident on the highway. If I had listened, I would have met these people. Or, there's a lot of things that we're going to get when we listen in the moment rather than after the fact. Where's my thing here? I'm looking for, where's my, great. Thank you. All right. When we start to see the world with our senses, our spidey senses, when we're starting to feel everything in the world, that's when we sense, oh, I feel an animal watching me. Oh, maybe it's a bear or a mountain lion or a coyote. So that you're going to be aware. Or maybe you're walking down a street and you hear something behind you and you get a tingling in your shoulders that tells you beware. So then you deke into a store to avoid being alone in a darkened street. So there's a lot of different ways your intuition can help you and make life easier. So stop and smell. And we're going to talk about the different types of intuition. Touch and feel. This is my dog Karma with my son David. All right, clairaudience. That is auditory. Clair means clear hearing voices, and maybe in your head nobody else hears it, but you hear voices in your head. Not to be confused with schizophrenia. Excuse me 1 second. So hearing the voice, you might hear the voice of your guides, ascended masters, God, loved ones on the other side. So that's clairaudience. And you may be clairaudient if you're very sensitive to noises and sound, or you hear ringing in your ears. I know Elizabeth commented about hearing high-pitched sound in her ear. 2 things. You could ear candle your ears, which is something I can teach a class on that if you're interested. But when it's not because your ears are blocked, that maybe this ringing in the ears is this higher vibration. And you ask guides, teachers, could you please change the vibration, change the pitch, so that I could hear it. I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. Having your name called if there's nobody around. That happened to me when I was 21. Clairaudience might have had an imaginary friend. I did. Did anyone else? Or if you're listening to the radio and maybe you're trying to make a decision and a song comes on the radio that is the answer to your question or guidance that you need right now, a song stuck in your head or a song that plays. I mean, when I was in North Dakota gathering my ex-husband's belongings after he passed in 2012, on the way back, I was driving his truck, and on the way back, he had, because I was in his truck, in his energy field because of the truck being his, and I had a long drive ahead of me, and he had the radio. First of all, I tried to play my, I think it was a CD. The CD player wouldn't work, so I had to play the radio. And the songs that came on were telling me what he was trying to tell me. The songs in the order giving me messages. So, you know, maybe you're musically inclined or you talk to yourself a lot, you might be clairaudient. Clairaudients hear messages from their higher self, their guides, angels, the deceased, animals, trees, plants, God, the ascended masters. Okay, claircognizance is when you have thoughts like downloaded. It could be downloaded from ascended masters. It could be downloaded from aliens. So alien spirits, ascended masters. So that is a thought, that an idea that comes to you that is not from you, and you can feel it. So this is what Nikola Tesla did. This is what Einstein did. Musicians, I don't know about you, I used to dream music when I was a child, but didn't know what to do with it. I used to dream music. I'd get these songs downloaded to me. I didn't know how to write music, and so I just did nothing. So that stuff, if you don't use it, we've heard this, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. So when that guidance comes to you, if you pay attention to it and you use it, you'll get more of it. Okay, clairsentience. This is a fun one. Well, you have instincts about places, people. You may feel drained in large groups. You sense energy when you walk into a room. You know when your friends had a bad day, just, you know, even if they're smiling, you can, oh, what's the matter? Or you need tissues to watch the news. All right, so clairvoyance is clear seeing, clairvoyance. You may use metaphors. You have strong visions while you dream. You see shapes, colors in meditation. You say words like, I see it this way. When I tap in, I see this. You might see flashes of light. You may see fairies. You may see globes or movement out of the corner of your eyes. That's clear seeing, clairvoyance. And then clairgustience is when you taste things that aren't there. This is an area you smell. That there's actually, I thought that clairgustience involved smell and taste, but clairaudience is smell. Clairgustience involves taste. And you may be on the phone with somebody and you can smell or taste what's cooking on the stove. Usually, if you have clairaudience where you smell things psychically, you also have the clairgustience as well. So I was on the phone with a client doing a session, and I tasted dill pickles. And she said, oh, that was my dad. My dad loved dill pickles. Or I smelled stew cooking on the stove. Not in my home, but theirs. All right, so let's take a moment and tap into your physical body. So close your eyes, and I want you to scan, starting just about 6 to 8. You can actually, if you put your hands above your head, you'll feel a little light pressure on your head because you're actually pressing down on your field and you feel it actually. So you can put your arms out and sense how far is my field? You can really feel it. It should be about 6-8 inches above you or more. And then close your eyes and starting at the top of your head, just notice scanning your body for any dark spots or stagnant energy, anything that needs a little movement. So just all the way down through your body, scan your shoulders, your neck, your arms. Your upper back, scan your lower back, your buttocks. What do you feel there? Are you holding resentment? We hold resentment in our butt. Did you know that? And then thighs. So shaking that booty is a good way to get that resentment out of there. All right, thighs down to your knees. You might feel some tension in your knees. So let's just release that. Put some nice, warm, glowing energy into those knees. And then send that energy down through your calves, through your feet, down into the earth. Just if you could make a little note of what you experienced in your body. All right, so now I want you to just look at your hands. So if you look at your hand, there is like a little glow or a little edge of the fingers where it's a little wavy. And that's your etheric field. It is outside of your body, the etheric field. So just narrow your vision looking at your right hand. So how do you do that? You sort of almost close your eyes and look sort of with your eyes semi-closed, looking at your hand, and you can see it looks like a glow or a shadow, an extension of your hand beyond your hand. Do you see that? Now narrow your eyes a little further, squinting. Okay, just so write down anything that you saw when you looked at your hand. We're going to talk about this in a moment. All right, and now there is a unified field that we are all in. It's the field of consciousness. And so when you sit in that field of consciousness or divine mind, yes, there is mass consciousness, but, you know, ask questions and write answers down in your journal. Okay, take a nice deep breath. So just make a note, connect to the unified field of consciousness and ask for questions and clarity. What could you ask? What is my soul purpose? What am I meant to do? When am I happiest? What do I need to know about myself? What do I need to heal? You could even ask about people. Is Frank Smith beneficial for me? And then if you get a yes or no, notice it. Okay, play at home. Okay, now you could play games with yourself. You can test your intuition. You can, I love to do this. When you get a Facebook friend request, before you add somebody, or Instagram, wherever, and I do this with myself all the time, especially with men, but I do it with women too, where I look at their picture and I go, is this a scam artist? Is this a real person? Because a lot of Facebook profiles are not real. They're fake, and there may be 6 people behind that one picture that message right from that one profile. So when you look at the picture, notice, what do you see what do you see in that picture? What do you feel in that friend request? Is this a friend or foe? Is it somebody who's impersonating a widower? Are they really married if they say they are? Are they a bully? So these are things to just play games with yourself. It could be fun. And then you know, if you add the friend, then you can discover, I did this recently on Instagram and it was exactly what I thought. First thing is, where are you from? Read my profile. Okay. Test yourself. So here's the Dalai Lama having some fun pulling somebody's beard. So here's the thing. Life is meant to be fun. And if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. You're doing something wrong. And I used to do it wrong. I made life hard. The more that we can tap into our intuition, the lighter we become, the easier life becomes. All right, am I it? Trust yourself. All right, so this is the end of my little presentation, and we're going to have a little exercise. I got to click out of here. How can I'm having a hard time with there we go. Okay. All right, so I am ready to answer questions, and then I'm going to do an energy clearing for blocks to intuition, whether it's a fear, a worry, or a belief. So does anybody have any questions about what we talked about so far? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording here right now. Okay, everybody. So thank you for joining me. Thanks for being here. I am going to stop this recording so that you will not be recorded.